Good evening, everyone. It is really, really beautiful to see you all here in our beautiful Luxembourg. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, to make your time, because I know it's still holiday season in Luxembourg, and that only next week really everything is picking up properly. So thank you all for your time. Thank you, Abir. Thank you so much, Paul, for your beautiful words, for your work, for the Leadership Academy. Luxembourg needed that, and I congratulate on all of your work already. And I'm looking forward to work more with you in the future and help you grow. I'm also happy to see my parents, Tessy Antony. It's the first time that they come and support me at one of my awards, because mostly they are outside Luxembourg. And so it is extremely, extremely wonderful to have my parents here, because they inspire me and they made me the person I am today. So thank you all to my friends as well, Theo, Jacques, Flavia, which I wear beautiful clothes, which are made all from traditional textiles and plants. So very sustainable, and it's here in Luxembourg. And I think it's amazing that in Luxembourg we have such innovation and beauty that I didn't even know about, and I'm just exploring more and more as I come along. So, a leader should be close to the people. Ling Liu, as they say in China. Ling Liu isn't as important as a concept today as it was before, in some instances. Could we speak of a leadership crisis where we look at world politics? Look at our politicians, our representatives, US leadership, Britain, or possibly even the ones here in Luxembourg. Do you feel that they represent you and your needs? Do you feel that they are close to you? Do you feel proud of them representing you? And do you think they represent your interests? So what is the myth of a strong leader? If you are to choose between a democracy and a dictatorship, the choice is quickly done, right? But what about your leader? The media shares some of the responsibility of what is recognized as a leader without showing the behind the scenes of the actual figures being portrayed as leaders in the media. Behind the scenes details of politics, or interview just the people who work daily in the shadow of heads of states or heads of corporates, will give you a better idea of what is really going on. We have seen this demand of transparency all over the world, in the US, in Britain, as well as here in Luxembourg. However, to report on the behind the scenes of such powerful leaders is more the exception rather than the norm. Instead, we often only hear and know what leaders want us to know, and what they say in public, leading us to believe the power to rule sits often only with one man or one woman. This has arguably curbed our idea of leadership, making us forget the qualities of a truly good leader in the opinion of those I have researched and spoken to. Humility, the ability to compromise, and the openness to listen to all sides. In some instances, it's high time we give up on the myth that strong leaders are good for society. We need leaders who listen, understand their people, and act accordingly to benefit the society as a whole, and not one's own agenda or short-term gains. Therefore, the public's perception of what makes a good leader is deeply flawed. Public opinion is shaped by certain influences such as public speeches, media campaigns, reports, and lobbying efforts. I have written a paper on the mental health of leaders and how that has shifted the foreign policy of a country. I happily share that with you if you let me know later. Let me share some of the quotes I used. I quote, "There's a burden of office which takes its toll on the health and well-being of the incumbent, i.e. the leader," by Robert Gilbert. Individuals have their background, we all do. We have our memories, we have our intelligence, we have our interests and dislikes. As mentioned by Valerie Hodson, the who are we and the who are they is often questioned. that a lot of leaders ask themselves. Moreover, Post and Robbins add that leaders are flesh and blood. We are all leaders in our own ways, in our own communities, in our own tribes. And yes, we're flesh and blood, subject to the vicissitudes of the life cycle, prone to illness, and inevitably subject to the passage of their years. Therefore, being a leader requires more than a strong personality. It requires resilience, a stable mental health, but also modesty, human skills, empathy, know-how, and listening skills. Great leaders know how to listen to other experts to complement their own expertise. We have seen this before, where leaders' ego was stronger than their modesty, and poor judgment and bad decisions were taken, which in the long run did more bad than good for the people involved. For example, Chancellor Angela Merkel in Germany. She goes into a meeting with an open mind, often not revealing her own thoughts until the very end. While President Trump appears to announce the result of his meetings on Twitter before the meeting has even happened. Where there are extraordinary skills, there are also flaws, therefore. I myself would not see myself as a leader, and yet I'm humbled and honored to accept today my first ever recognition for my work here in my beautiful Luxembourg. I made mistakes in my life. However, as I grew older and wiser, hopefully wiser, looking at my parents, I have seen the effect of poor judgment and poor due diligence firsthand, and have learned to put my own interests second and listen more than I actually talk. I want to make this world a better place. I really do, full-heartedly. I might not be perfect, but I surely try to come as close as possible every day. I do not regret the mistakes I have made, because they allowed me to become the person I am today. Of course, this brings along the need for bravery, boldness, and integrity. Leadership also asks for all of these qualities. Let me give you a few examples to illustrate what leadership means to me. I will use examples that I use often because I think they seem fit here to this occasion as well. Leadership is affirmation. Leaders inspire us through their words. It is given that if you approach any kind of task at hand positively and constructively, that your team will feel more secure and supported. They are more likely to take risks, which brings innovation, as you know. Their leader will guide them with a positive attitude through it. Being a student and supporting your friends, being in a company, a corporate, or wherever you are in life is the same. Encourage your colleagues, encourage your friends. I remember well when I was in the military, and my superior would tell me after a super long week of exercise outside in the rain and no sleep, he would say, "Tessy, you can do it. I know you are tired and that you'd rather be home in your bed. However, your teammates and your brother," I was doing my boot camp with my twin brother, bless him, "they are inspired by you." He repeated this over and over again over the next 4 months, doing this harsh and painful boot camp. My feet were bleeding. I was also crying sometimes when I felt overwhelmed and tired in my little tent, which I shared with someone else, which was completely soaked with water at times or covered in freezing snow. As a result of my superior's gentle affirmation, the strength he could see in me, I felt empowered, guided, and eventually made me graduate the boot camp as only woman amongst 50 men from a total of 120 people at the start. This is similar to the tough love of a parent, a leader of industry, leader of corporate, and politician, and what they need to show. Leadership is also quality time. Leaders know that one is never too young to lead and never too old to learn. This all takes time. A quote by my dear friend, the late Kofi Annan, Secretary General of the United Nations. Only a few months ago, I was able to celebrate his life with his dear wife Nan and their children, who I count amongst my close friends. One theme was repeated over and over again when talking about Kofi, that he was a great leader, a leader who listened, a leader who inspired, a leader who questioned, and most importantly, a leader who led. Why? Let me tell you a story his dear wife Nan shared with us that day. A month before he died, he was very unwell in the plane to fly to Zimbabwe, and still he took that plane because he knew it would inspire and guide many young people who were waiting for him when the plane was landing, many young kids who were looking forward to meet him for months. He always went the extra mile. He was a leader who led with kindness and compassion, one who took time to listen and learn, a real diplomat, who reached the outcomes he desired with a patient attitude. Kofi was known to be a man who never raised his voice, one who gave and served and who put his needs second. Leadership is also acts of service. My late grandfather, His Royal Highness Grand Duc Jean, is my personal inspiring story of a leader. Let me take the stage for the first time since he passed away to publicly say how much he has inspired me with his love towards me and my children, his love towards his country and his people, and his love for everything he did. He was a man of great kindness who always listened. As Kofi, I personally have never heard him raise his voice or say one bad word against anyone. A leader like the late Grand Duc Jean is rare, very rare, and he will be very much missed by many. Moving on, not everyone is able to speak their truth openly, and that's okay. However, through leaders, such an incredible leaders I have mentioned who inspired me, I learned that I should always speak my mind and that actually it does make a difference. No voice is too small. I took some life-changing decisions, and it took me time to make them. I realized I was afraid. However, I realized very quickly that it is okay to be different. Not one leader is alike. This makes it so exciting and innovative, don't you think? Yes, there's the fear of the unknown. Key questions that one asks him or herself at each presentation, public comment, class, wherever you might be. Will people like me speak my mind? Will people judge me? Make fun of me? Did you know that girls are less likely to raise their hand at a conference than men? Why do you think that is? What I learned is that you can never please everyone. There will always be someone who doesn't agree with you. And you know what? And also agrees with you, of course. That is not only okay, but sometimes that even brings better results. There are billions of people on this planet, and we need all kinds to create a society. There will always be that one person you feel threatened by. And you know what? That's okay too. If you silence the roommate in your head, that subconscious voice, and look at the facts, you will realize that you and that one person are actually nothing alike. Biologically, skill-wise, attitude-wise, and many, many other key features of a human being and its character. So are leaders, and so is leadership. I personally have never met anyone who is exactly the same in his or her approach. We might be inspired and feel empowered by a leader and his or her work, absolutely. However, cautious. Do not get confused by interpreting their success with your own path, as this is not the same. It's merely there to guide you in your own life, and it is up to you to use their experience and leadership to make the best out of it that works for you. I hope that my leadership, including my flaws, inspire future generations, especially my two sons, who I adore more than life. I'm 33 years old, and I'm the mother of two teenagers. In these 33 years, I was 6 years in the military, did a trauma psychology certification, launched my own company, a UN AIDS ambassador, I was married 12 years into the royal family of Luxembourg, cycled 300 kilometers in 15 hours, and I will climb with my two best friends, my musketeers here, the most deadliest mountain in South America, hopefully next year in November. I'm sure there's not one other person out there exactly like me. And this counts also for each and every one of you. Be confident, be proud of who you are, your path, your ups and your downs. Let me move to my last point. Definitely a major one, if not the most important one for me. Leadership, in my opinion, is only working when you feel that you as a leader, or the person you see as a leader, is leading his or her tribe with integrity and a sense of group belonging. Nothing has ever really been achieved by one single person alone. No. There were always other people around, maybe in the background, but they were there. There's a saying that states, if you like to go fast, go alone. If you like to go far, go together. Always give credit where credit is due. Leaders do that. You are only as strong as the weakest member of your group. I believe this statement to be true in every walks of life. Giving credit is different than categorizing people into different tribes. Tribes being a group of people who have something in common. I believe human beings to be so much more than just one tribe. We belong to many tribes, each and every one of us. Just because I like saxophone and jazz does not mean I don't like to go out to a rock concert or a summer festival. Or my 300-kilometer cycle, even though I would not be the typical cycling goal you would expect in such races. There's more to a person than the eye shows. A good leader tries to get to know his or her tribe in order to lead in the best possible interests that benefit the whole group and not just a few. This is hard. Yes, it is. Leadership brings responsibility. Let me give you an example of my personal life. What if I ask you, what did you hear about me before I stepped on this stage? What did you read about me? Which group or box did you put me in? What was your judgment of me, my past, my present, my future? Let me tell you who I think I am. Of course, in a nutshell, because I will not stay here for hours. I take the example of my titles as a guiding tool for this small analysis of the me, Tessy. Okay? Over the last 33 years, a lot of people, especially the ones that don't know me, have tried to put me into boxes because of my different titles. A selection of my titles were princess, corporal, defendant, activist, mentor, teacher. These titles were only a byproduct of me following dreams of things that I thought were true at that time. What I learned is that titles can change. It might make people more comfortable when they deal with you. However, as I said before, it only shows a slight fraction of a person's real being. The true me is much more than any one person can see. Therefore, a title tries to categorize you into one of the boxes. But being true to yourself is the real essence of life, which puts your actions in harmony with your belief system. Leaders understand this difficult task and always keep an informed and open-minded view while leading and keeping the task at hand on the right path. I'm really humbled to have been given the opportunity to address you all today. Think about tomorrow. What will you do? Which type of leader do you want to become or see in your governments, in your corporations? What is leadership for you, and how do you make this work for your tribe? Leaders are born as well as made through the experiences we encounter in life. A leader leads and does not simply give orders. I want to close this speech with a quote by Jim Collins, author of Good to Great, which goes like this: if a mistake happens, good leaders look into the mirror and see their part of the responsibility. If there is success, Good leaders look through the window and see the accomplishments of a team. I wish you all a great rest of the evening, my fellow colleagues, friends, family. And I'm looking forward to hear from you about your projects, your ambitions, your failures, who and what inspires you. So don't stay strangers. Thank you very much.